months in a row. But like, that's one of the great things about the IGDA community as well, is that, you know, Luke in Scotland will gladly do an AI talk via Skype.
Absolutely.
There's a huge resource for that. So.
I've done a lot of talks to different chapters and stuff like that. So yeah.
I think Tom in Seattle has said he would Skype in you know, law stuff. So there are members of the community that will, the international part will come to you. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's good. That's actually good to know. So we'll have to talk about that. That's good.
So here, at least the chapter in Sacramento, one thing that we do quite a lot is we do a lot of game jams, because it encourages people to come together and actually just spend the time just making games. And we've actually got a lot of sponsors because, you know, through networking through those events.
Awesome.
So like there is the global game jam and other, you know, like other events dealing with that sort of stuff. Do you guys, and you know, what type of things do you do to encourage that type of behavior throughout the chapters?
Well, other than encouraging it, we do. I mean, because a lot of chapters do game jams. Like with the Global Game Jam, most of the sites, I'm just using an example, in Seattle were at the schools, like DigiPen, AIE, and what was the other one? I forget. But, you know, so they were mainly at the schools. IGDA Seattle was not, we didn't create our own sites or anything. We could have, but we didn't. But we've also participated in other game jams that happen during the year. And there's been all kinds of different ones. Like I mentioned, some are for charities, some are for other purposes. And, you know, most of the people are just like, you know, if they have the time, they're like, yeah, I'll do it. Why not? You know, because I mean, who doesn't want to code if they know how to do it or whatever? So, and it's just really cool. I mean, we basically encourage it. So there's not much more we can do to support it, because it's just, that's such a local thing. Because it's like find the space, find the time, all that kind of stuff. And, you know, we obviously can't do that from afar, not easily.
Well, what I mean, like, because like there's the upcoming, I think it's in the Bay Area, something like the Oculus Rift, they're teaming up to do you know, a game jam, and there's also TIG Jam and all these different game jams. Like, I mean, do you list resources on the site? Do you like let people know that they're, you know, let them aware of those events?
Yeah, there's, you know, if we know about the jam, then that's something that we will often act as a media partner for it. So we'll put it on our events page, and we'll make sure that people know about it, and we send out a membership mailer to IGD members, and it'll be like in the events section and have links and all that kind of stuff. So so if we know about it, but it's like there are so many.
There really is.
That go on. So, you know, we try, and we can only know so much unless people tell us.
Have you done a lot of game jams here?
Yes.
We've done a few already, and we got another one planned for the end of this month, the end of August.
We've been doing them consistently every month for a full year. Yes.
I just recently left Philly, but I was in Philly for 10 years and heavily involved in that chapter. And the Philly scene loved game jams as well. So initially, they got a taste of it when we brought Global Game Jam there, and they just loved it. And then there's a Philly Game Jam, which is very similar to Global Game Jam, except it's more of a competition. We would try to get prizes, but didn't necessarily work out every time. So at least they made everybody a really ugly award that I would print out at Kinko's. And that one, it's the exact same thing as Global Game Jam, except you came with your team already, and we just told you the theme and you could go. It wasn't let's get to know everybody and kind of form teams on site. But they love their jams so much. One of the local studios they do monthly jams now, and they just do these ridiculous things where you draw a genre out of a hat, a platform out of, like, you just draw it's the grab bag jam, and there's it's one of the things that I want to get documented for the manual, because you can come up with so many different types of jams. It's a concept artist jam. Just come in, this is the game we want to make, and everybody's just drawing art, or it's music. Like, you can go so many different types of jams.
So one thing that we actually started doing, like I think it was back, so we've been doing it for about a year consistently. After the jams are done, we usually do like a day-long one or a weekend-long one. We always do kind of like a group post-mortem, and we actually kind of like ask everyone to break down their experience to see, you know, what would their what was the downsides, upsides, what they ran into, and we found that to be very educational and helpful to the community because like after the events are done, that's like the biggest feedback we always get, saying like, yeah, the jam was awesome, but like the postmortem after was amazing because I got to hear, everyone else's experience about what was going on. And because of that, in the future jams that we do, people have learned from the mistakes. So they make better games and faster.
Yeah,
so
awesome.
it's really cool. Any more questions?
Any more questions, guys? Questions? I think I'm empty as well.
So I got one last final one. So Games for Change is becoming a really popular thing. Basically the idea of creating games that actually help change the world. There's lots of them, like people doing TED Talks and stuff. Have you guys seen a lot of chapters getting involved in that type of behavior?
To some degree.
Yeah.
Yeah. I definitely see that coming more out of the indie community because they kind of have they can make a choice to do a game like that. Whereas, it always comes down to like, do we want to sell this or do we want to make something that is just going to be impactful?
Yeah.
And if they can do both, then awesome. But it's not always possible. So. I think there's more that are interested in that. We certainly were a media partner with the Games for Change organization. We're more than glad to do that. We've been more involved with, there's an initiative that kicked off, I know in Seattle, but it's going to be nationwide, if not global, with Northeastern University, but to use games for STEM education,
Wow.
Specifically targeted getting more girls interested in STEM subjects. But then I just had a call today with there's a, what is it called? They'll hate me for not remembering, but it's basically a national effort to create more interest in STEM subjects. And they're doing an event at the end of April in Washington, D.C. And they want to have, they're like for example, Pepsi is sponsoring food science kind of pavilion thing. And they want to do a game one for sure. And so they're reaching out to me to try and get whether chapters or companies interested in getting involved in getting involved in this.
Cool.
Which is great because they recognize that games are extremely powerful for this. And they definitely don't want to ignore it. The problem is they just don't have any connection with the game industry. So I think the interest is out there. I actually think it's blurring quite a bit. I think. I don't know. I think we're still in a period where the phrase "games for change" is meaningful, but I think eventually it's just going to be implicit. So that's my hope.
Yeah,
so
that's true.
We'll see.
Yeah, and also like the New York Game Center, they focus a lot on video game research. And you had mentioned that there's a lot of companies and other organizations that have put white papers on on the site. Have you guys really talked to them more at all to kind of to get more of that really valuable information about particular topics?
Not yet.
Not yet? Okay.
No, we're kind of, like I said, I've been here for 7 months. I'm kind of focused on the fundamentals, like a new website going, and getting us through GDC and getting us through E3 and the IGDA Summit, and we'll get there.
Because they're doing some really insanely creative things out of that place. They're always doing videos and really neat things too. So
awesome.
Cool.
I'll get to them eventually.
It's only two of you.
Yeah.
Cool.
There's all of us.
There you go.
We just do the dirty work. So.
Nice.
All right, guys. Well, if there are no other questions, I think a big round of applause is due for these. Thanks, guys, so very much for everything, for being here tonight. Like I briefly mentioned earlier, August, we've got a number of things coming up. We've been keeping the limit to 3 a month right now, even though I got overexcited and almost jumped into 5. But I blame my man Josh because he brought up a Mega Man idea, and we'll talk more about that later. So, but yeah, we've got Joe. We got the board game jam at the end of August. We've got a speaker session on the 21st.
Mike Thompson, he's going to be the speaker for that.
Mike Thompson.
Yes.
Hugh, how are you, sir? Good to meet you. Awesome. Nice to meet you. So we'll be having a speaker session with him on the 21st. And then we have got, what's the third thing?
An audio class.
The audio class, yes. We're going to have a intro to audio, introducing the fundamentals of implementing audio in games. More on that coming soon. So we've got a lot coming for the next few months, but I hope you will all be a part of this and keep an eye on the meetup as well. And then like they mentioned with the IGDA website, once that gets refreshed and looking gorgeous, then we'll definitely have additional tools to spread the word out. As always, if there are any questions, please do not hesitate to email myself, Joe, or Gabby. We'll have another newsletter for August going out very soon. Anything else I'm missing I should add?
We have literally planned out the next 5 months, so there are going to be things to do, very exciting things.
Yeah, we had our little meeting yesterday and we went crazy.
So it's a lot of really fun things.
I almost forgot we had August because we went all the way to the end of the year. So it's a lot of actually, speaking of which, the arcade, the big event that we are planning and praying and hoping for, it will happen. It's going to go well. We've already got the prototype machine up thanks to these two gentlemen here, Alan and Josh, who really made it work, and NBA Jam, all the games. Yes. So we're going to be displaying that prototype machine again in a couple of weeks on the 10th of August for the next Makers Meet, which will be here. We're going to actually have, we're going to kind of praying that we get one of the games that I'm working on with my team working on that machine. So it'll be a good test of the arcade machine using regular, games in the works. So we'll work that out.
Maybe explain for some people who aren't aware of the event what exactly it's going to entail.
So the arcade. Oh yeah. No, I was going to get to that. Absolutely. So the arcade itself is going to be kind of it will be a celebration of indie game development here in Sacramento. It's going to be the public's first opportunity to show, to be able to try out the different games that the local community here are making. And if they like it, pre-order the game, order the game, whatever, talk to the developers, give feedback. I'm going to have all those options. We're going to have a lot more in store than just playing indie arcade games and so on from Sacramento themselves. We have a lot in the works. The idea originally was to have it for sometime November, December, but we're going to push it back to the middle of January. So not a major setback, but it's necessary. So but it allows us more time to get things in order. I'll be looking at locations this week where we'll have it. The place that I'm hoping for will be Scottish Rite Center, where they do SATCON every 3 months or so, because it's a beautiful space and not expensive, hopefully. So we'll see how all that works out. But like I said, it's going to be an indie developer's shop to show their game off. The hope is that the game is ready, about to be ready, it's going to be a really nice time when we get it all together, but that's essentially the core of the arcade. And again, games will be set up on these arcade machines. We're still working through the schematics and all that fun technical jargon, but so far so good. We have a prototype, so that's step one. So just keep an eye out on that. We'll be talking more and more about it as we go through the next few months. So I think that's it on my end. Joe, anything else?
No, Joe spent, but I think we should really give another round of applause for them coming all the way down.
Guys, thanks so much for everything. Appreciate it.
Thank you.